Okay, now we're going to look at how we create a pie chart, sometimes known as a sector graph. So these are quite common. You'll probably see them around in the media and such. They're a really straightforward way of representing data. So they're an alternative to using a dot plot or a histogram and polygon or a line graph, or there are lots of different ways to represent data. Really personal preference, I suppose. So again, we have the same data as before. So it's how many siblings students had. My graph has to have a title, and I'm going to be putting it in the shape of a circle. So I've drawn my circle. Now, circles have 360 degrees inside. So from the center, if I was to measure from the very top all the way around, it's 360 degrees. And that's what you need to know in order to be able to calculate how big each slice is. You need to know that a circle is 360 degrees. Okay, and then in order to calculate how big each of the slices for all of the different options is going to be, you're just going to be multiplying these as a fraction by 360. So for our first one, for 0, 3 students had 0 siblings. So 3 students out of 17. So I've written it as a fraction, so 3 out of 17, and then I'm timesing it by 360. So I'm going to get my calculator, and I'm typing in 3 over 17, or 3 divided by 17, they mean the same thing, times 360. Okay, and I get 63.52, so I'll just round it down to 5. So 63.5. So that means that this particular slice of pie needs to be 63.5 degrees. All right, I'm going to get my protractor. I'm going to put it here so that my center of my protractor, see how there's a dot on my protractor? It's going to line up with the dot on my circle, and my beginning line, where the markings start, is going to be in line with my blue line here. I'm going to find 63 along here. Looks to be about there. Now I am going to draw a line from that center dot that passes through that marking to the edge of my circle. So there we go, perfectly straight line, and that is our option 0. Okay, cool. Let's do this one. So the only thing that changes in our calculation is, instead of it being 3 out of 17, it's 4 out of 17. So I'm going to put a 4 in here, and I'm going to rub this out. I'm going to do this calculation. So 4 divided by 17 times 360, and I get 84.7. All right, cool. So using my protractor again, I'm going to put my protractor. This time I'm going to measure from this line. So protractor, center on the center, that line is in line with that. And I want 87, which would be about here. Awesome. Get my ruler, and I'm going to draw a line through there. Perfect. And I'm just going to write in here how big this slice is, so 84.7 degrees, and that's option 1. Okay, now let's do option 2. So students who have 2 siblings. There were 6 students who had 2 siblings. So my fraction becomes 6 out of 17. Get my trusty calculator. 6 divided by 17 times 360, and it's 127 degrees, 0.05. So I'll just round it down to 127. So I'm measuring from this line, from the new line that I've drawn, putting my protractor on the center, and I'm counting, or looking for, 127 along here. So it'll be about here. Awesome. Grabbing my ruler. go, is 127 degrees. And that's 2 siblings. Okay, cool. Let's do our next one. So the students who had 3 siblings, there were 2 of those, so my fraction becomes 2 out of 17. 2 divided by 17 times by 360 becomes 42.3 degrees. So get our protractors and we're measuring from our new line again. Protractor on the center, like that. There you go. 42 looks to be, that's 40, so 42 would be about there. Awesome. Doing this in whiteboard marker was probably not a good idea because it's just rubbing out, but that's okay. Oops. Right, and that's option 3, and that was 42.3 degrees. Right outside. 42.3 degrees. Okay, cool. Now, lastly, we have option 4 and option 5. They're both the same. They had 1 student. So I put a 1 out of 17. Put it in our calculator. 1 divided by 17 times 360. And it's 21.17. Oh, sorry. That'll round to 2. 21.2. I could have just rounded to the nearest degree. I'm pretty much doing that anyway when it's okay. Alright, so protractor goes in the center and I'm measuring from my new line. I'm looking for 21 degrees, so that would be about there. Oh, oops, I didn't throw it straight into the center, my bad. So that's option 4 and option 5, and they're both 21.2 degrees. And there we have it. We have our perfectly calculated sector graph, or pie graph, whatever you like to call it. So the moral of the story when you're creating pie graphs or pie charts or sector graphs, whatever the heck you like to call them, is you turn your frequency into a fraction out of the total, multiply it by 360 degrees, because that's how many degrees are in a whole circle. Then you're going to be measuring how big each section is going to be. All right, thank you for watching.